Hello Canadians, I'm your mentor Bakr Bhatti, CEO PAS. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss with you how to fill up form RC151. It is a very important form for getting GST, HST credit, especially for new immigrants. But before we proceed formally with this presentation, there's a disclaimer. It simply tells you that the purpose of this presentation is to educate Canadians about filling up a form or discussing some of the legal related issues. But if you need any specific advice on any legal matters, whether it pertains to taxation or accounting, you may contact us at phone number 289-952-3494, or you may send us an email at pascat2017@gmail.com. Now we move forward with the formal presentation. Here's the scheme of presentation. If you just look at the screen behind me, you'll find that there are certain important areas that I'm going to share with you. First of all, we'll look into the purpose of form RC151, and then of course its different parts. As you can see from the screen, there are 5 important parts in this form: A, B, C, D, and E, and each part has a specific purpose. We'll look into it, that what those specific purposes are and what care you have to keep in mind while filling up this form. Okay, we move forward. Now, what is the purpose of form RC151? The purpose is to apply for the GST, HST credit for the year that you became a resident of Canada. Since Canada is a country of immigrants, and every year about 0.3 to 0.4 million Canadians are entering this country, so their first concern is that they should be entitled to GST, HST credit, because initially most of the immigrants have low income levels, and this is one income boost that they may get immediately after landing into Canada. Okay, now part A of form RC151 is it relates to information about the applicant, as you can see on the screen. In this part, you have to, as the main applicant, you have to mention your name, your social insurance number that is normally issued once you land on the airport, then your date of birth, your telephone number, your mailing address, and your marital status, whether you are married, divorced, separated, or unmarried. Now we move to the next part. It is part B, and the information relates to your spouse. This information is comparatively limited. It's only restricted to the name of your spouse, his or her SIN number, and his or her date of birth. Then there is part C, and it asks you about your residency status. Now there could be 2 categories in this context. One is the new residents of Canada, the people who are landing in Canada for the first time. What type of information they have to provide? First, information relates to the date you became a resident of Canada, and usually it is the date when you land in Canada. Then date your spouse or common law partner became resident of Canada. Of course, if you are traveling together, it will be the same date. Now the second part relates to those residents who happen to be residents earlier, but somehow they left Canada and now they are returning back. So in this case, you have to provide some additional information also. For example, one information relates to the name of province or territory you and your spouse resided before leaving Canada. For example, you may be living in Alberta, but now you intend to live in, for example, Ontario. So you will mention Alberta in this case. Then date you and your spouse became non-residents of Canada when you left Canada last time, and date you and your spouse became residents of Canada. It is the date when you have landed back to Canada. Now we move to part D. This is about the statement of income. Now, as a resident, you have to provide information about all income from all sources, whether you have earned it inside or outside Canada, and you have to, of course, express it in Canadian dollars if you want to be make sure that you become entitled to GST, HST credit. And there are 3 further subdivisions of this income information. One relates to the income that you earned the year you became a resident of Canada, and this would run from 1st January, that is start of the calendar year, to the date when you became a resident. For example, if somebody has traveled to Canada, they have landed on 30th April, so it means they have to mention the income that they earned on 1st January up to 30th April in this case. Then there is another information that you have to provide, and it relates to 1 year before you became a resident of Canada. Of course, this would relate to the calendar year before that, that is from January 1st to December 31st. And in certain cases, you also have to provide information 2 years before you became a resident of Canada. And this would be applicable to those individuals or persons who became resident before April 1 of any calendar year. So it means if you became resident before April 1, you have to provide this information. But if you land after 1st April, then you don't have to provide information pertaining to 2 years before you became a resident of Canada. Now there is part E. This is the certification part. Of course, you are providing information, and it is assumed that whatever information you have provided about you and your spouse, it is based on true information, but still you have to certify. So you and your spouse are required to sign a declaration and put the date. And because this information is collected under relevant provisions of Canadian law, and this certification on your part makes sure that whatever information you have provided about you and your spouse, about yourself and your spouse, it is based on facts, it is based on truth. Now, if you want to get more information about GST, HST credit, the CRA has provided you with several options. For example, you can directly go to their website at cra.gc.ca and get the relevant information in the relevant section, or else you can just call them at 1-800-387-11193, or you may be interested in reading the booklet titled RC151 GST HST Credit. So with this, today's session is over. I hope you have enjoyed it. It was a brief session, but it was very important, especially for all new immigrants. If you are interested in seeking any accounting or tax services from us, you may send us an email at pascat2017@gmail.com, or else you can call us at 1-289-952-3494, or you may like to visit our website at www.pascat.com. Thank you very much for your patience and your interest in our presentations.